So here I am at George Washington High School, San Francisco. This is the school that I graduated high school from. Now I'm coming back as a guest speaker for one of the classes. So let's see how that turns out. On to George Washington High School. I'm inside George Washington High School. This is the main entrance. There's a stairway. And I'm gonna go to the classroom that I'm supposed to be. Room 208. Hello. Here's one of the hallways as I remembered. So right here, you can see a nice view of the Golden Gate Bridge. Check it out. Oh, see that? Football field. Okay, so room 208. Let's see where that room is. Some of the students here. I think there's class right now. Here it is, the view of George Washington High School, and here's the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, the bell just rang. So I need to go to room 208. So the bell just rang, and students are going from one classroom to another, and I'm in the middle of all the students. So let's see if I can find the right room. Let's see, room 208. When I used to come here, the lockers used to be orange color, and now it's red. 208. All right, I'm here. So, hello everyone, my name is Walden Wong, and I know you, Aiden. Yeah. So I'm a comic book artist. I work for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Image, Dark Horse. I've done all the work for a lot of companies, and I've been doing this for 20 years. So here is a portfolio with some of my work. So these are original pages that we work on. We work on 11 by 17 original art. When the work is done, we scan it in Photoshop and we reduce it in 67%, and we send it to the publishers. The publishers will then get the work, and then they'll start sending it to a colorist. So my job is an inker. You guys know what an inker is? Okay. In comic books, there's pretty much like 1, 2, 3, 4 art teams, 4 or 5 art teams. There's a writer who writes a story, gives the scripts to the editor. The editor then gives the scripts to the penciler and inker. The penciler draws everything, sends it to the editor, and gets approval. When that's approved, the pencils get sent to me, an inker. I would take the pencils and I would ink it, so this is how the page will look. Okay? And after it's done inking, we send it to the colorist and the letterer, who completes the whole process, and it gets put into a book. Now, when we work in comics, there's 2 ways an inker can do the work. We can ink over original pencils, or we can ink on blue lines. You guys know what blue lines are? Blue lines are when an artist sends a file to the inker, and we would take that and convert it into like a light blue shade. Okay, and then we ink on top of that. The reason we ink in the light blue is because when we scan the ink, we won't see any of the images. Any questions so far, you guys? And take a look. Yes?
Okay, draw manga.
Can I draw manga? I've also done work for Viz Media. So yes, I've done some manga work, some art touch-ups. What's your name?
Garrett.
Garrett, come here. So for asking me a question, this is a print that I worked on. So I'm going to give everyone that asked me a question a poster. So this is Deadpool riding a unicorn over a rainbow. These are the same things that I would bring to conventions that I would sell. So here's one for you. And I have 2. I have that one as well as this one. So one of the comic books that I worked on is also Deadpool. I've been doing comics since 1996, so that's 20 years. So anyone that asks a question, I'll randomly give you a print outside. Okay? And this month is Inktober. You guys know what Inktober is? Inktober is for the whole month you would try to draw in ink, and then try to draw 1 piece a day. So I did that last year, and these were some of my Inktober pieces. So here, this is Black Panther, this is Iron Man. I've done maybe 30 pieces, and then there's Captain America, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but you guys want to guess which turtle this is?
What
That's
turtle?
right. Ninja Turtles.
Ninja
This is all the
Turtles.
turtles. I drew one turtle holding all 4 of the weapons. There was something here, but I sewed it after mention. Okay. So now you guys know what Inktober is. You guys should work on Inktober. I know you too. Yeah, Kylie. Yeah.
Where do you know all these people from?
What?
How do you know all these people?
Yeah, that's magic.
Magic. Psychic.
Any other questions about comic book art? No?
Not even for a poster?
Not even for a poster? At a convention, I sell one of these for $10, $20.
Whoa.
Yeah. So what are these? So it's like this, like this. So this one, you can display it this way, or you can display it this way. Nobody likes comics? Yes?
What was your biggest obstacle trying to do comics?
My biggest obstacle in trying to do comics was in the beginning when I was trying to get comic work, because you have to market the thing. I mentioned this to all the classes I teach. I don't teach at the Academy of Art University. I teach at a lot of different places. So there's 3 things that you need to focus on. You have to be really good at what you do. You have to be really fast at what you do, and you have to be likable. Okay, you can get by with 2 of the 3 traits, but if you only have 1, you're not going to work. So that means you can be a good artist and a fast artist, but if you're like a bad person, you can still get by. You can be like a bad seed and a fast artist, and you can draw, not that good, but you can still get work because you're fast. So that was some of the things that you have, the hardest part. Because for most artists, we're introverts. You guys know what an introvert is? We keep to ourselves. That's why.
That's so true. Like
Yeah,
at the
like-
Academy of Art, nobody talks.
When I was here in George Washington High School, my desk was actually on that corner in this exact room. I remember sitting there and looking at the teacher dock, and there used to be a table here, and that table, I think it's the same table. That table's been there forever. And
Wow.
I would stay in the corner. Lunchtime, I would just go to the bleachers and hang out by myself. And then I didn't talk to anyone. But the hardest part was changing that and being able to socialize and have people like you. Yes?
Always know that you wanted to work for a comic.
Yeah, I did. Here, I was reading comic books already. But I didn't know I wanted to work in comic books. When I graduated from San Francisco State, I got a degree in business marketing, but that wasn't really comic books. It wasn't until I went to a comic book store in San Francisco, someone asked, what do you do? I say, I work in a bank. I work at Wells Fargo Bank. And this guy was drawing comic books in a comic book store, and he was packing pages up and putting it into a FedEx box. I asked, what are you doing? I draw comic books. So, how? So, when I'm done drawing, I put it in a FedEx box and I send it to Marvel. Really? I can get work that way? How do I approach getting work that way? And he would tell me, and I would start making samples, drawing my own work, making photocopies of my work, sending it to publishers, going to conventions, meeting the editors and publishers. So that's one of the things that you have to market yourself. What's your name? What? Eleanor. There you go. This is for you. Any other questions? Yes.
What's a typical deadline for you?
Typical deadline. That's a very good question.
She wants to post. No.
When I did the comic book has 20 pages. So if you break down 20 pages, that's not including weekends in a typical month. That's 20 days. So when I get a project, editor expects you to do at least a day a page. Sometimes if you're working with a writer who's slow or a penciler who's slow, they will eat up that time and you will have less time. Yes. So if you're not able to do the work, the editor will take some of that work and give it to another artist. So your job is to try to finish as much work as you can and just get the project done. Now here's the thing. When I'm working, I'm not just working with one editor or one publisher. Sometimes I'll be working with 2 or 3. Now if you can imagine that, you have 20 pages here, do here, another 20 pages, do here. So you have to be very disciplined when you're doing your work. So that's very important because when you're not doing the work, you're not getting paid. With comic books, I work freelance. You guys know what freelance is? Anyone? Freelance is working at home. I work at home. Marvel Comics is located in New York. DC Comics is located in Los Angeles.
Yeah?
Yeah, DC Comics is located in Los Angeles. So I do the work at home, I scan the file, I upload it to the FTP, okay, and then they get the files. So a lot of the artists and editors that I work with, I've never seen in person or spoke to on the phone. It's just a lot of emails these days. Any other questions about comics? But I can tell you, working in comics is a lot of fun. I wake up in the morning, you know how your mom and dad, they have to commute to work? That's like maybe an hour drive or half an hour. My commute is 30 seconds. I get out of bed, I just walk to the next room, and I start working. Yeah. And then I can take a break whenever I want. I can take a long lunch. I have a friend that will call me up while working. Hey, you want to hang out, do something? I just go. I don't really have a boss that tells me, you have to stay here. Oh, you're leaving work, I'm going to dock you. It's really, really good working in comics. Yes?
There is that picture, right?
What is that?
It's called that picture called like a rainbow.
Yeah, this picture is a rainbow. So this is Deadpool riding a unicorn over a rainbow. Was that your question?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That was my question.
Do you like rainbows?
Yes, of course.
What's your name?
Sunny.
Sunny. Here you go, Sunny.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I know.
Maybe we could start in inking and you could give us some pointers.
Sure. Any of you guys want to see me demonstrate some inking techniques?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to gather around. So this month, Inktober was based on water.
Today it's underwater.
Today's
That's
underwater.
the theme.
So I'll show you how I would process drawing water, inking water. Everyone gather around. Don't be afraid. Come on.
And if you guys like, you can pick up a piece of paper and a quill as well.
There's also paper there, quills, bottles of ink. These. Okay. Now here's this. Here's another good thing I can talk about. When I was in school, when I was here, one of my projects was drawing a tree. This is the exact bottle, not this exact bottle, but the same type of bottle, and this is the
There's
quill.
stuff in here from like
Yeah.
the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize. Those are good stuff. So I hated using these. I absolutely hate it. I mean, I will be in class and I would get a good grade, but when it comes to pen and ink, I would fail at pen and ink. And then now I do it for a living. So you never know what you do in school that you're bad at, and then when you go out and you get better. Okay. So a quill. This is a Black Magic Higgins. This is a dropper. You can squeeze it and then pick up water. So when I squeeze it, this is kind of coagulated. But you can get ink
There might
this
be
way.
another one.
See that? So with a quill, when you press down, that line goes thicker. Okay, let me feed this. Actually, let me dip it. So right here, that lines go thicker, it goes thinner. When you ink it sideways, you can get thin line. When you're inking water, okay, always think about foreground, middle ground, background. Things that are close to you want thicker, and then middle ground. So just like that, that looks kind of like water already. See that? You don't draw water like that. Okay, that's kindergartners draw water like that.
Of course.
Okay. Another thing that I noticed that kids, when they draw a sun, they draw a sun right on the corner. Don't always draw the sun on the corner. You can draw a sun here or right here. Okay. Now this is a brush pin. These are really nice. The tip is made of a nylon fiber, so it goes to a really sharp point. So this, you can get a really thin line. You can also get like a thick line. Not only that, you can do line weights. You guys know what line weights are? Line weights is when the line can go thicker and thinner, and then you can control that. For example, if I was going to draw an arm, this arm looks flat, but if you go in there and thicken up some of the lines and start bouncing it around, it gives it more depth. Okay? Like if you were going to draw a circle, like a flat circle, looks kind of boring. But if you put some line weights on it, there's more life into it. Okay? And then there's this. This is a micron. So a micron is like a flat dead line. When I say flat dead line, that means you can press as hard as you want or as light as you want, you're still going to get that flat line. So I use microns to work on faces and hands.
What size do you usually use?
I use all the sizes actually, except for size 5 and 7. Because the thick ones, I'd rather move over to the quill or the micron. So I use 0.005 is the one that I use to work on faces. So when I start working on comics, the first thing I'll do is faces first, and then I'll move on to working on hands next. Because I think faces and hands are the most important things. And then when I start, when I finish faces and hands, then I'll use a brush and I'll fill in all the blanks, do all the line work. Now if you look here, okay, let me find a better image. So this is Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. Look at this line here. From this ear, notice that it's thin and it goes thicker. And then as you go down, it gets thinner and then thicker. This is called line weights. When you do line weights, it gives your flat drawing more depth. Yes?
Is this the original stuff?
Yeah, these are the original comic book art. See, like DC Comics and Marvel Comics just sent me the actual board. Now print over it and now ink on top of it. Any other questions? Yes.
What are things not to do?
What are the things not to do? Try not to make mistakes.
Like what?
When you're working with ink, if you make a mistake, you're gonna have to use whiteout. If you use whiteout, you're gonna have to like white it out and kind of wait for it to dry and then build back on top of it. Yes.
If you're like working on a printout or an original and you get ink on it, is there anything that you can do? Or like do you have to like pay for it?
Well, if I was working on this and I spilled like maybe this much ink on it, I would use whiteout. Or I would make another stat and then ink that part only and then tape that on top of this. But with the
Affect the quality of it?
it doesn't affect the quality because when we're done with artwork, we scan it in Photoshop and then we do post-production work where we'll touch up some of the art online. No, not online, but digitally before we send it in to the publishers. But it does affect the value of the original art. Like some collectors, they want like a nice clean page as opposed to a page that has like a lot of patches all over it. And every so often there is going to be patchwork on comic book pages. Any other questions about comics?
Sorry.
Yes.
By the way, guys, if you're interested in getting actual, I can't remember what they're called. Those pens.
It's brush pens.
Yes, brush pens. If you're interested in that, we can probably order some for the club if you want to try them out.
We only have one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
but we have one.
These are nice. Now here's the thing. Once this runs out of ink, you can still use it. Okay, I don't know if you guys know that.
Isn't that just with the microns?
Yeah, the microns like here. Look here, right here. This line, you can take an X-Acto knife, kind of like cut it off, and then drop some of these ink into it. So you can continue using this. Now, if you can't, you can use this and just dip this into the ink and use it as normal. So
Do they make you guys switch? Like you said, you're an inker, but could they tell you to like, can you be a colorist or a?
So my expertise is in inking. I've done pencil, I've done writing, I've done coloring, but that's bits and pieces part. But I prefer inking because I get to work with a lot of different pencil artists. With pencil, I know maybe on average day you can draw a page a day because of the approval process. I like inking because once I get the page, I can start working on it right away. And I don't get any like, oh, Walden, can you redraw this figure? Because that's done during the penciling phase. So So when I get it, I just do the inking and the embellishing.
Which job is the most stressful?
The most stressful?
Yeah.
Probably the writer, penciler, the approval process. Because for comics, you get paid for the page. You don't get paid by the hour. If you're gonna redo pages or re-ink pages, maybe do corrections over and over again, you're spending more time than as if you finished it correctly the first time.
But pencil you can always erase, ink you can't.
That's
so maybe
right.
that's the most stressful.
Pencil, you can erase. Inking, you have to have a very steady hand and try not to make any mistakes.
How do you?
Pencil, oh, sorry.
No, you got.
But pencil, don't you have to like come up with the image. You have to
Yes,
create it,
that's
right?
right.
I think that's more stressful.
I've also had times when I'm sitting there with a blank page,
Yeah.
like these Inktober pieces I worked on. They took maybe 4 hours each, because the first hour I'm just sitting there, what character should I draw? Or what pose should I make him into? And then when I draw it, it'll be like, this doesn't really look how I want it, I'm redrawing it. But after drawing everything and then I'm inking it, inking is just much quicker. So like on a pencil can do a page a day, I can do maybe 3 times of inking compared to the pencils.
You went to state for marketing, right?
Yes.
And how does that like tie into what you're doing now?
Totally unrelated.
Unrelated?
The reason I went to San Francisco State was to get a degree in marketing, thinking that when I graduate, I can do package design. Because I've always been like an
That's
artist.
kinda related.
I like art, but it wasn't really comic book related. So when I graduated, I was interviewing for jobs that was business marketing. It was paying me less than what I was making working at the bank right out of high school. So I thought I don't really want to get paid less, especially what I'm doing on a degree. So I decided to go into comics, and I gave myself a year to try to break in. And I said, if I don't break in within a year, I'm going to be a bank manager. I'm going to go in that direction. Because at that time, I was a bank teller or a new accounts person, doing both at the same time. So within a year, going to San Diego Comic-Con, I got work. Marvel and DC hired me at the same time. It took me maybe 6-7 months to do a portfolio. One page, when I was working on a portfolio, I spent a whole month working on a page because I wanted every line, every dot to be as precise as it can be. So there's a lot of determination if you can get into comics. Any of you guys like comics or read comics? No one? Just art? Now, when you work in comics, it's not just working in comics. I've gotten offers to work on TV commercials, movies, where I do like storyboard layouts. You can do it that way. I've done package design, like logo designs, so there's a lot of work. But my heart is in drawing comic books. Like being a comic book artist, I've gotten so many other art jobs, and it's nice. Yeah, because with comics, you're able to do storyboards and page layouts and camera angles. None of you read comics? What are you doing here? I thought you guys read comics, no?
They're just shy.
You're just
Some
shy?
into comics.
Don't be shy. I'm just,
Nani, what do you watch?
what is it? Have any of you guys been to Comic-Con? No. Or
I've been to
a comic
Comic-Con.
book convention? Nope. Yeah.
Even if you're not into comics, I mean, inking's a good skill, you know,
Yes.
for any artist.
Yes. Yeah, even like those newspapers, those comic book newspapers, they do
Political.
inking. All final art is done with inking. These days they have digital inking, which is done on like Photoshop or what is the other one? Procreate.
That's what I have now.
Yeah, that's good. But
I don't think it looks as like when you do it by hand. You
yeah,
can tell.
it's not as
it looks good.
You can tell lines that are too perfect compared to doing it by hands. You can see stuff that's more natural.
And I think that's, you know, like how when you're using the brush pen or the quill, you get like the line variation. I think that's more obvious
Yes,
when you do it by
bouncing
hand.
the lines around. Yeah, so here's the thing. If you work in Photoshop digitally, when you're done with the work, you get paid for the work. You don't have the original artwork to sell. See, I like working traditionally because when I'm done with art, I have this and it doubles your income. Any other questions? No questions? Nobody wants
All right.
like a poster? No one? Nobody?
Do you guys want to try out, maybe do the underwater theme today and try out the quills and then, oh,
Yes.
What was the hardest piece you ever worked on?
The hardest piece I've ever worked on. See, it was on 3 issues of the Hulk, Incredible Hulk. I was inking over, you probably know who the artist is, Arthur Adams. His work was really detailed, a lot of lines, a lot of little lines, and he wanted his work to ink with the microns, so no brushes and no quills. So just using this, I was working on a page, and it took me maybe 16 to 20 hours to finish one page using microns. So at the end of the day, my hand would just cramp up. Like it would just be so tired from using microns. Like try to learn how to draw lightly with your hand as opposed to pressing down hard. And here's another thing, I don't go bowling. I never go bowling. Because when I go bowl, I can't draw the next day. Because the muscles on your hand, you're drawing, all of a sudden your hands go like that. It's like you have a seizure or something.
so lesson of the day, either art or bowling. Those are your career choices.
Art or bowling. So that was the thing. Hello. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm finding my way out. Here's the stairs. Look at all those students. A lot of students walking down. Oh, I think it's the other way. I think one stairs go down, one stairs go up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit like. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching. And again, be good. Take care. Bye-bye.